Hey everybody, I'm Stephanie with Love Misunderstood Institute, and we are having conversations with Stephanie. I'm your host, Stephanie Hockenhall. Welcome to the show. This show will educate you about bullies, inspire you with hope, and empower you to stand up to the bully or to choose to change the bully in yourself. My
Right.
guest on today's show is Darlene. Darlene, go ahead
Hello.
and tell us
Hello.
a little bit about yourself. Welcome to the show, and thanks for choosing to share your story to give
Well,
us.
thank you.
You're welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, I am a grandmother, mother and grandmother. I'm a survivor of domestic violence.
Yeah.
I just started a Facebook page called Woman, the number two Woman, ICT, and that page will be there to put information there for women that needs help. I would like to also add um, your information as far as bullying to my page as well.
Thank you. I'd be happy to speak to people. I'm excited about being able to share about bullies and to open
Right.
this understanding about bullying by educating them. So thank you for that
Yeah.
opportunity. Go ahead and continue.
And as far as that, the information is going to be there for women to, like if they're in a domestic violence situation, which is, part of bullying,
Yeah.
um, they'll be able to go on there and go to a link, and it would link them directly to the information bar where they can go and get help to get out of the situation.
Yeah.
So I'm really strong, on that because we were not placed here on earth for a man to bully us
Right.
or put their hands on us,
Right.
downgrade us. We're here to be women and support, the good man. But, it it doesn't necessarily be women that are being bullied and being abused because there is men out there that goes through
Right.
domestic violence, and these are men that were raised not to put their hands on a woman.
Right.
So they get into a relationship, and you know there are certain women that are bullies,
Yeah.
and they like putting their hands on a good man like that. I don't get it. So the relationship bullying, it's more common than what people are sharing.
Yeah.
And it's good to get that information out so that women can see how the bullying starts in a relationship, because it can start as little as you getting on my nerves, um
Word.
uh, I ought to just leave because you're stressing me out. And the woman, she don't have to be doing anything but doing what a woman do,
Right.
taking care of the survivor. I tried, many things to change the way my relationship was, but it didn't work. It didn't work. The bullying kept on. I couldn't go to the store without getting a phone call and being called out of my name, or where you at, you're not home. um and sometimes it gets frustrating, and it's hard on a woman that you know knows her responsibility
Mm-hmm.
as being a woman and a mother.
Yes.
And but there's different signs of, I see it now. I understand it now after talking to you about bullying. I see a lot of things now that I didn't pay attention to back then.
Right.
And I, I love everything that you're doing, and a lot of women need to know what the signs are,
Yeah.
what to look for, because you can there's women out here and they calling each other by, the B word, and they get, kind of emotional when men start calling them that. Well, for one, don't let your friend call you that if it's gonna make you mad if he call you that, and then you're everything in the book.
Yeah.
You're not beautiful.
Yeah.
I catch him looking at another woman, and that makes you, feel some type of way because, okay, well, I'm not beautiful. So that's, that kind of stuff. It gets kind of frustrating, but relationships, that it got to be, a 50-50 thing. And if you're showing respect to this man and he's not doing the same thing for you, then there's some type of emotional thing there. And to me, if you're being bullied by um, your boyfriend, fiance, husband, or whatever, it don't necessarily have anything to do with you. It has something to do with them. They're not happy with their life.
Yeah. Yeah.
There there's something going on with them which they, need to work on.
Right.
They need to find out what that is. And but, thank God I got out of my relationship, and I'm happy.
Good. Good.
I'm happy, and I'm following God. I'm doing what He telling me to do.
Amen.
So, and
And that,
everything is looking good. So I'm excited, and I'm happy that I don't have to deal with that kind of stuff anymore, and which I refuse to anyway. If anything,
yeah. Well, so I'm glad you're sharing your story, and I'm that you shared some of your story and some of your experience, um, because we need to hear that. Um, we don't need to be accepting bullying. We don't need to be accepting somebody controlling us. So, thanks for telling us a little bit about yourself. I'm excited about what you're doing too. You're a wonderful
thank you.
see. You and that big smile, people smiling all the time and they'd never be able to tell that you've
Right.
experienced some of the things that you've experienced. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing you with us. Um, so now, with that being said, I want to share some rules for the show so that people understand when they look at this pre-recorded show what they can do and how they can ask you questions if they have questions.
Okay.
Rules for the show: no questions that make the guest feel uncomfortable will be answered. So that may mean that the question is either too personal or that complete healing hasn't taken place in that area yet.
Right.
You'll hear, I don't feel comfortable answering that question, and that's okay. So I ask that you not take it personal. That the people that are listening and commenting, that you don't take it personal um, when the guest says, I don't feel comfortable answering that question. Just keep in mind that although this show is to educate, to inspire, and empower you, some questions are just too personal to answer. So just don't take
Right.
it personal when you're typing comments and don't get a response, or your response is, I don't feel comfortable answering that question. Remember,
Yeah.
it's okay. You are allowed to ask questions while watching the pre-recorded interview. Please type your question in the comments box and we will answer those questions accordingly. So we'll be watching and responding accordingly. These questions should be asked to help empower you, the listener, and not to harm the guest. So let's move on in the show. So Darlene had homework to do. I gave her a list of the different types of bullies, which are 16 different types of bullies. I gave her a list, and then I gave her a worksheet to dig a little deeper into bullying. So today we are going to be talking about workplace bullying, and we're going to be talking about relationship bullying. So um, Darlene, were you surprised to learn that certain things were a type of bully when you looked at the list that I sent you?
Yes, I was really because when we first talked about it and some of the things that we had talked about before, the list brought back that conversation on the different types of bullying and the feelings, actually having the experience and didn't know
Yeah,
at that time that I was being bullied.
yeah. Okay, so guess what Darlene is talking about? We did a radio show together for almost 2 years, a little over a year and a half, and I was the host of the show, and Darlene was one of the co-hosts, and we had another co-host. And so on some of our shows, we talked about bullying, and so that's
Yeah.
she said when she's talking about before, that's what she's talking about from that. So, darling, what experiences came back to your mind as came back to your remembrance as you looked over this list this time? What experiences? What workplace experience? Let's start with that.
um Sitting and working my hardest. I never had any problems with anybody until this certain job. It being not just not degraded, but made feel lesser than a person with authority. So that brought back a memory to me. And I remember a dinner at work, and I'm in the office with them, but I was never invited to the dinner, which was lunch. I was never invited to that, but everybody else was.
Mhm.
And the only thing I was thinking, I was okay, so maybe I just don't, you know, deserve to be invited, or it was something special or whatever. But at the end of the lunching, that's when they told me that I could go in and get something to eat. And that was wrong to me. That was really wrong to me. But I needed my job, and I had to just go with the flow. So I tried to stay to myself. You know, they made me feel like they had a problem with gospel music, because I would play my gospel music sitting at a desk, and then, showing up one day and they took the whole computer. I said, okay, so they just pretty much just said, you're just going to sit here with nothing,
Yeah,
you know. So, yeah, that brought back a lot of memories,
yeah,
which, at that time I really didn't think of it being bullying until I learned more from you about bullying. And then, I got to seeing it. I was like, okay, so they were really bullying me. So I don't know if they just didn't like me, or, they just took their authority and just pretty much ran over me.
right. And so, in listening to what you just said, what they were doing was bullying you socially. They were saying, "We don't want you to be a part of us," and by not inviting you then, but they invited you later. And
Yeah,
basically, okay, we're done with all we gonna eat, and there's some left, so you go get you some. So that's socially being a social bully. Um, and that's really hard when you're working in a place and they are treating you like that, and you have to hold your head up and keep going.
yeah,
It's really hard. You don't want to keep going to that place, and having to deal with that. So,
right.
um, did you want to add anything to that, or
Well, yeah, because, after feeling that way, I got to where, I just didn't want to go,
yeah,
but I had to go.
So that was some of the effects. So go ahead,
Yeah.
continue.
So yeah, I was tired all the time. Um, it was getting depressing.
Yeah,
It was getting really, really depressing, and I just didn't. Even though I liked the place,
yeah,
it's just the fact that were certain people that took their authority
right.
and just went with it. And I just you know, I probably would never work for them again. So because I know the signs now, so uh, even if I went to fill out a application and went to a company, I could see the signs.
Yeah.
You know,
And the reason you can see the signs is because you are aware. So
yes,
once we become aware of something, then we are responsible for what we are made aware of and how we respond to it. So
right,
that's why, I mean, your eyes have been opened
yes,
now.
they
So
wide,
go ahead.
they wide open.
Okay, so before we move on, let's talk a little bit about the relationship bullying. Um, what do you want to share with us about relationship bullying to help us be aware of bullying in relationships?
um, Overprotective. When you get into a relationship, if they seem to be overprotective, um, which it seems like they're overprotective, but at the same time, that's starting to be a controlling thing.
And
You
that
know,
this
yeah, yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. So, back in the day when I was younger and I was in a relationship, and that just seems like, oh my God, he's protecting me, and you know he don't want me to go out, he don't want me to be around these people because I might get hurt or get in trouble or something like that. But now I realize and I see that no, that wasn't love. That was the sign of the start of the bullying,
Yeah.
keeping you isolated and away from people and socially and keeping you away from your family. That was the start of the bullying that led up to, domestic violence. And yeah, so
As you were talking, I was thinking about how like you were saying, like when we were younger, it was pretty cool that some man came and was like, oh, we felt like he was
right,
us. He really wanted to keep us from getting hurt, anybody from harming us. And then, just like you said, what that's doing is leading right to control, and allowing him to control us, which we don't see the signs. We don't
right,
understand the signs. And
right,
as we get older and have had all these experiences, now we understand these are signs of something bad, not something.
yeah, yeah,
So it's, people really have to be aware of what's going on, and all things that look good are not good.
right, right.
Um, so so in these situations, you already answered the question, because the question were you the bully or was someone else the bully? So
Someone else was the bully. Someone else. I've never been a bully. I never have.
okay, so and you've already said you were at work and you were in a relationship. So would you and you shared that experience with us. So how did you respond to the experiences? If you want to do the workplace experience first, yeah, let's do it that way. So do the workplace experience, how you responded to that experience.
Well, how I responded, because I'm not really an outspoken person. So I just kind of blew them off. I
Mm.
mean, because, you know, when you're being bullied at work, especially by someone that is not the CEO, but that's under them, someone with a higher authority than you that likes belittling you.
Yeah.
I just blew him off because you know, after I received God in my life, I was like, well, I'm gonna let Him deal with these people because they probably got something going on at home. It ain't my fault, you
Right.
know. So I tried blowing them off, or you know, uh, being there, even though they had a problem with me taking a break or you know getting up, even going to the bathroom. It was a problem.
Yeah.
I still listen to my gospel on my phone.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have that, I'm not one of them people that, will snap on a person, but I had it in my mind. That's like, okay, if they, just keep on, treating me like that, then, I'm just gonna have to go ahead and snap. But I was like, no, I'm just gonna go ahead and give it to God and let Him deal with them, you know.
It takes a strong person to be able to do that because, naturally we will go ahead and do whatever it is we're feeling. We will go ahead and snap and we will go ahead and.
Right. Right.
Um, it's good that you knew what to do with that experience, in a positive way, because there's positive ways of dealing with situations and there's harmful ways of dealing with situations. So, um, what about the relationship bullying? How did you respond to that experience?
Oh my God. That at once we got married, it was smooth at the beginning, but then when the bullying started, like I said, I was thinking, oh my God, this man, he's, protecting me and, he don't want me around all these people and all this stuff. And it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know that part was bullying until you educated me a little more on bullying, and I always been a quiet person,
Yeah.
so I was always quiet. I didn't, and I'm from a small town, so you just didn't tell people, what was going on.
Right.
So, far as the relationship, mm, it was rough. It was rough because I dealt with, a whole lot, because it went from verbal
Mm-hmm.
to physical,
Yeah.
and the physical was really intense.
Yeah.
And after I got out of the relationship, the bullying continued.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't go to the store, you
Yeah.
know. Um, I I would always been seen at certain places that me I would not ever go,
Yeah.
but I had kids, by this person, so
Mm-hmm.
um, I kept contact where he could talk to his kids and everything, but it was more him focus on me.
And so you've already expressed, some of the effects that bullying had on you. So, what motivation or inspiration would you like to share with others to give them hope and empower them?
Like I said, once I let God in my
Mm.
heart, I learned to forgive
Yeah.
and leave my that part of me behind, and then going back to the job bullying, some
Ah,
of the things there, brung back them emotions. And I was so happy that you was there. I was able to come and talk to you and cry and vent. So, but yeah, it took a little bit. And I'm doing what I want to do, and that is to be able to go out and speak to other women and share my testimony,
right.
far as domestic violence, and hoping and praying that I can help a lot of women get
Yeah.
out of that situation.
Yeah.
It's not easy at first, but it gets better.
Right.
And life gets better. You see me? I'm smiling. Hey, I'm living.
And like I said in the beginning, you wouldn't be able to tell the because you're always smiling. And so I want to give people just a little bit of history. Darlene and I worked together. We worked at the same company for a couple of years. And then
Yeah.
we did the radio show for a couple of years. So we have a little bit of history. So some of the things that she was sharing, most of the things that she was sharing, I already know because, of us doing our radio show together and then because of us working together. So,
Right.
Darlene, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. And we have to have experiences in order to, and get through the experiences in order to have a testimony to share with somebody else. So,
Right.
and Darlene and I used to talk at work and we would talk about the future and what we were going to be doing and how we wanted to help people. And
Yeah.
super excited because Darlene and I were both, we weren't as strong as we are now. And we would share our stories and we would cry and hurt and, with each other. But look at what God has done now. Look at what is happening. We're both,
Yes.
our mouth to speak.
Yeah.
We're using our voices to help and inspire and educate and empower other people. So,
Right.
I really appreciate you being a part of my show, Conversations with Stephne. And for Conversations with Stephne, go to, I'm on Facebook, Love Misunderstood Institute is a nonprofit organization. That's my organization. I have a group about bullying, bullied underscore love misunderstood is a closed group where you can go and you can talk about your bully experiences. I also have Instagram. A lot is going through my mind fast, but I also have Instagram. My name on Instagram is bullied underscore love misunderstood two. Not two, but bullied. It's the same as my group, Facebook group. So again, bullied underscore love misunderstood. And these videos, you'll be able to find these videos on YouTube. So this will be on in the bullied underscore love misunderstood group, so people can see it there. You'll be able to go to YouTube and see it. So we're all about helping people. We're all about inspiring people. We're all about giving hope. We're all about empowering. So again,
Right.
thank you, Darlene, for being on the show. I really appreciate you, and I will talk to you soon.
All right.
You take care. Thanks again.
You too. You're welcome.
Bye bye.
Bye.